It's taken 3 months to get the cabin to this point. I started clearing the land back in June after the snow had first melted, but unseasonably cold temperatures and non-stop rain slowed my progress quite a bit. Building a cabin takes an immense amount of consideration, especially when you're off-grid and the nearest hardware store is hours away. Forgetting something simple like a box of screws could mean an entire day wasted, or hours spent scratching your head trying to figure out a workaround of the problem at hand. But with the Alaska winter closing in, there was no more time to waste. It was time to get this cabin done. My old high school buddy Mason flew up from Washington to help me wire the cabin. After high school, he became an electrician and has come up and helped me with all the wiring on the property. Not only is he an electrician, but it was a great excuse to get old friends together and dig an 80-foot trench. The reason for the trench was to tie in the electrical system of my existing cabin to this new cabin. That way they could be run off the same power source. I use a combination of solar and a small gas generator to charge up my EcoFlow power stations, and then those provide the power to the cabin and the various outbuildings. One. Oh. With the cabin wired, I could finally move on to the next steps, the first of which was getting it insulated. I've seen the temperatures get as low as minus 38 degrees here at the cabin, so this is an important step. I've had squirrels, bats, mice, hornets, and all sorts of other things get up into the roof of my main cabin because I didn't do a good job of closing off the eaves. Wanted to make sure that wasn't a problem on this cabin. Working with insulation is one of my least favorite things. You get covered with tiny pieces of fiberglass that embed themselves in your skin and your clothes. It can be really itchy and uncomfortable, and it can get in your lungs and your eyes if you're not careful too. Rather than using baffles, I just undersized my insulation by about 1.5 inches. My rafters are 2x8s, and the insulation I use for the ceiling is for 2x6s, leaving that 1.5 inch space for airflow to bring the moisture up and out through my ridge vent. Cutting a huge hole in your cabin wall is a little nerve-wracking to say the least. I decided to go with a propane heater instead of a wood stove for a few reasons. The first being that a wood stove takes up a much bigger footprint, and the cabin is pretty small. I'm also building this cabin for guests, and not a lot of guests know how to use a wood stove correctly, and so rather than worrying about them burning it down or having to maintain a fire through the night, I figured just having a heater would be a simple solution. They can walk in, turn it on, and forget about it. Like my other cabin, I'm using live edge spruce siding to cover up the Tyvek. This is a really awesome step because the cabin goes from looking totally out of place to almost like it grew up out of the ground. Live edge siding looks great, but it's very tedious to install. Every board has a different width and a way that it tapers, which means that you have to go in, measure, and cut each individual one. Then something pretty strange happened. Did anybody else catch that? Looking back at this time lapse, I noticed something moving through the background on the left side of the screen. Was it a moose? But how could a moose have wandered right past me and Norman, and neither of us noticed? Pretty strange. Today some much needed help arrived. I've been really fortunate and had a few friends come out and help me with different projects during this summer, but none have come out and helped as much as Forrest. Not only is it great to have an extra hand, but it's also a nice morale boost. Let's see. So in case you're new to my channel, I want to let you know that all the music in my videos is written and recorded by me and Forrest, and we do it right here at the cabin. And for those of you who have been asking, yes, we are going to release the music somewhere that you can stream it or download it. Details on that coming soon.
Almost done. Almost done.
ran into a little problem here when I realized that my siding was thicker than my electrical box was sticking out from the stud. So I had to rip the siding back out and then remove the electrical box and reset it much closer to the edge of the stud so that it would come up flush with the edge of the siding.
He's sassing.
Good enough.
I have to admit, I do feel like a pretty lucky man. To have a wife who not only helps me with these types of projects, but oftentimes shows me the right way to do them, it's a pretty great deal. We did it, Norm. We did it. Okay, so maybe the cabin isn't completely done. I still need to do the door and window trim, put the fascia around the outside of the eaves, and then of course I have to build bunks and put a couch in there and maybe a table. Lots to actually do on this cabin. But for now, we're going to call it done. The actual cabin itself is fully sealed in, the heater's on, it's insulated, and ready for the winter. It's been a long journey getting to this point, but it sure feels good to step back, look at the cabin, and say, I built that. Until next time, everyone, thanks for watching Alaska Cabin Adventures. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.